Hey guys, it's Christy. I wanted to talk to you and introduce you to Damon from Oak. We're in Oak Recording Studio right now in Toronto. And I feel like people have been, you guys have been following along. I've been doing Starbucks shows. I've been doing all sorts of stuff, and everything's always branded with Oak Recording Studio. But we were talking about it, and we realized that we've never really talked about what that relationship is between what I'm doing and Oak. So, I just wanted to, invite you guys to learn a little more about what we're doing, I guess.
Yeah, so Christy and I met, a year and a half ago?
More. Like 2 years.
Like 2 years ago?
Yeah.
And Christy was in recording art school, and she actually came here. Well, she actually gave us, I think it was an email first, saying she wanted to take a tour of the studio to fulfill something from school. They had a little project where they had to go to a studio and get a floor plan and figure out how we bill clients and the whole thing to sort of get introduced to like studio culture, because she was in recording school. Mm-hmm. And I will fully admit, I was very busy, drank 19 coffees, and I was like, we do tours for clients, but we get a lot of calls from people who are recording art school, looking to check us out and that kind of thing, and eventually it just gets too much. So I was not the most polite.
Well, I didn't feel like you were not polite. I just felt like you were bossy.
I was professionally, I'll admit it, no. Professionally polite, but professionally yeah, I don't have time for this. I tried to make time, but I didn't have time. Mm-hmm. Christy did not take no for an answer. She gave us a call.
I had to get my project done. So.
She had to get her project done. She gave us a call, and she was just like, hey, I think I remember, I don't want to misconstrue and this. And she was super happy and super, joyous. And I've always had a rule that I know the music industry is really competitive, and the recording industry is super competitive now, obviously, with how many people are graduating from recording art schools, and everybody wants to work in music or production or singing. And I've always had a rule: if somebody shows up, then, they're showing that, that personal drive. So Christy showed up. She showed up, and we started talking, and we got to know each other a little bit, and she was just, she had a business card ready, and she had everything ready, and we started talking about, things, and we rarely, if ever, take interns. We've only ever taken one, maybe ever, because we feel like it's a waste of time as a studio, because there's a lot of people who want to get into studios and take an internship, but what they end up doing is they're never doing the work. They're sitting there wrapping cables and getting food for people, and it wastes their life. And I never want to waste my life, so I don't want anybody else to waste their life. So, but with Christy, she was a singer-songwriter and a musician, and she's taking this recording arts program. We're like, okay, maybe there's a place for her. Mm-hmm. And over a few months of her, just dedicating and coming, 3 days a week, we started talking about what our goals are as a studio, because we're more of a production studio than we are an engineering studio, in that we only make final products. We only make radio-ready singles, EPs, and LPs. We don't do demos. When you come here, it's only production. There is no just engineering, somebody on their phone going, yeah, it's up to you, whatever you want to do. We produce records. That's how we're different. So, and Christy wanted to be a singer-songwriter, and she wanted to perform. So I had this idea years ago of doing, I've already drank too much coffee today. So the idea is, with music, it's really tough, right? It's really competitive. And in business, as it is in music, what you need to do is sort of find the niche where nobody else is looking. So as a musician, you can go play the bar scene, and compete with that noise, or, you can be out there and, play twice a month, and then your career's not going to go anywhere. So in business, it's the same thing. It's find a place where there's a problem and solve it, and you'll make a niche for yourself. Mm-hmm. So I had this idea a couple of years ago about doing this ongoing coffee shop series, because people in coffee shops, they don't get exposed to a lot of live music. They're not necessarily going to go out to a show. Maybe they're a little bit older, but they've got expendable cash. They're in a cafe during the day, and it's an untapped audience. So I presented that to Christy and said, hey, I want to do this. Mm-hmm. Why don't you come on as a spokesperson for Oak Recording Studio, and then if you go out and do these shows, if you do the booking, and I will coach you how to do that. And it didn't take much. Christy was great, and she figured it out really quickly. And she was also really hungry, which is, again, is that rare thing.
Very hungry.
Yeah. So Christy booked the shows, and then on the back end, we did her design, we branded it, and we're making her a record for free. You know, highest echelon. And it's taken almost 2 years to make that record, but it's a phenomenal record. It's not for lack of not working on it.
Yeah.
It hasn't been on the back burner. It originally was supposed to be a couple singles, then it was a 5-song, and now it's a full-fledged produced pop record. So we said, if you go out and do the shows and brand with Oak Recording Studio, then what we'll do is you can become our ad model. So Christy's been on billboards. She's on the TTC right now. There's a couple of hundred ads for Oak Recording Studio on the TTC in Toronto, and Christy is our ad model on that. Every time we're starting a recording arts school here, a 1-month program in the summer where like people who really want to learn production, not just like generally learn production at a recording arts school, but learn how to produce label quality records. Christy's all over that branding. So we support her as the ad model, which elevates her in terms of being a, you know, sort of a local celebrity and pushing that. And then on the back end, when she does her shows, she's selling pre-orders for her record, which is almost being done. And when you go to her shows, it's, if you want to buy a pre-order for her record called Right, which is the sequel to her first EP called Left, it's $20, and you get the physical copy of Left, her first EP, you get the digital download of Right when it comes out this year, and you get an Oak Recording Studio t-shirt for $20, which is a crazy deal. Yeah. So, and you can also get that through her website. So if you haven't, you know, gotten Christy's pre-order yet, you can actually go to christyhagerman.com right now, and you can order that, and it's shipping included anywhere in North America. I think it's $30 on the website, you know. So it's just $30, and then you get, the Left EP, the Right digital download when it comes out, and then you get the Oak shirt. So that's our relationship in terms of, so she's more like Oak's ambassador, Oak's like branded ambassador, because to us it really, really matters that if we're gonna do advertising, that it's always authentic. So like Christy is a working singer-songwriter, she is on her way up, so like when people see one of our ads, there's lots of ads there with, you know, models on them, but like Christy really is a musician, and she's awesome. And
Thanks.
like Christy, you know, as a singer floors me, and I hear music all day, every day, and Christy is, you know, like, I'm 100% mean this, Christy is phenomenal. She's a phenomenal singer. I'm gonna embarrass her right now. But Christy is a phenomenal singer. And I get the tingles when I hear Christy sing, and I hope you do too. But like, that's our relationship. So we've really elevated each other, and we've got a whole bunch of plans for the future too, you know, beyond Christy's record, you know, but that's really what we're doing. So it's like Christy is the official Oak ad ambassador, and in turn, you know, she supports us, we support her, and it's something that I'm surprised other companies don't do that much. Like, I know, you know, you'll have, you know, whatever tennis player, you know, like is sponsored by Nike, but that's not really what we're doing. Is we both have a need, and then we're both supporting each other, you know, and it pushes both of our brands forward. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, Christy has sold, you know, multiple, you know, many pre-orders already, and they all carry the Oak brand, which is awesome. So, great. You know, so like, it's elevating Christy as an artist, and then, you know, we've got a lot of secret plans for the future. But that's really our relationship. So, you know, I just, Christy wanted to try this Instagram Live thing, and we just figured we'd sort of share why we do this.
That's great. Thanks for like telling them all that.
Yeah.
So, do you guys have any questions? I'm just looking through like the people who are, hey Wes, what's up? Matt. I'm just like checking out all these people. Rob, Stefan, Patrick, Nick, all these people. Thanks for tuning in.
Oh, maybe we should talk about your record.
I know.
Yeah. So Christy's record, this is also what's great about our relationship, is like, so Christy also, because she's such a perfectionist, and just like we both see eye to eye, like perfectionist, but for a high quality, because we really believe like making records to a high quality, don't just slough it out, throw it out, and put it out there and whatever. Mm-hmm. We really have worked really hard on it, but Christy was adamant. And this is the great thing about our relationship, is Christy was adamant that producing her record, that she tunes her own vocal tracks. And she's been in that little room back there.
Oh my gosh, for hours.
We just expanded as a studio, and so we've got these 3 new rooms. And Christy is the first one to use our little our little production suite back there, and she's just been in there like,
Staring at a
hand
screen.
in the face, being like, and then I come up every couple hours and be like, hey, how you doing? Is things okay? And she's like, I don't know. And it's just, she's so like, that's a rarity as an art. I mean, Cardi B does not tune her own vocal tracks, like Drake does not tune his own vocal tracks, but Christy Hagerman does, and she's adamant about it. And I think that's really an interesting take on, hands-on. It's like most people, I know there's a lot of indie musicians out there, who want to make their own records, but, getting the production source from us and then Christy contributing because it's her vocal, how different would like Ariana Grande's vocal be if she tuned it herself?
She did it herself.
Yeah, it's like, I can play guitar and drums, I'm playing the drums. I can also edit somebody else's drums, but like when you play an instrument, you do that. You tune your own instrument. But if you're recording your own vocal, there's sonic choices to make there, and Christy's making them. And it's like it's not that Christy's out of tune at all. It's just, I mean, autotune has become such a ubiquitous thing that I think people expect. You don't realize how much you've heard autotune. Gord, who's one of our fantastic producers here at Oak, we both talk about the fact that over the last 10 years, people have started singing like autotune because they don't realize they've listened to it so much. There's kind of a flatness, like not a flatness in terms of performance, but there's just sort of like something digital, a compression going on there.
Yeah, you don't hear it, but you definitely hear the lack of it.
Yeah, that's
like
right.
If there's no tuning on it, you're gonna be able to tell it's not gonna sit quite right.
That's right.
So.
Actually, a waiter, if you really want to know the difference between, like when we're not talking about autotune in terms of somebody being a bad singer, we're just talking about the quality that autotune brings. So like if you really want to hear it, actually, if you go watch The Lion King, the original Disney movie, watch it and listen to the singing in that, and it's Disney, it's fantastic, but you can tell that it's not tuned, even though every note is on. There is a different there's a different quality, and maybe that's just the digital processing. I mean, just like Pro Tools, it's like every record, in the 70s and 80s, up to the 70s and 80s, every record was made with different audio gear, and now they're all made with Pro Tools, Logic, Ableton, very few, I mean, there's a few others, but like very few digital mainframes, so there's a homogenization that's happening there. So anyway, it's pretty cool that Christy demands, she didn't have to fight that hard for it, but she was like, I'm going to tune my own vocal tracks, nobody touch it, I'm doing it, that's the way it is.
I have to do it because like I care so much about it. Like I don't know if that's a good thing, but I'm like very invested and I want it to be perfect. So I know that if I do it for myself, I'm going to be even more like anal about it and make it perfect. So Alexander was just mentioning like flattening out all the notes on Melodyne, not quite the same, but you get that flatness. Yeah, Melodyne's like another way to do that.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you bring that up. Sorry, what's your name?
Alex.
Yeah. It's interesting that you bring that up because I really find, and maybe you do too, if you've used Auto-Tune, there's also a Waves tune, there's Melodyne, and then there's also sort of there's a tuning processing in Logic. They all sound different. And they all put it on the same note, but the way they get there is something.
Yeah, it's a different digital process.
So here at Oak too, we also make those kinds of very interesting sonic choices. Like there are some records where we use Melodyne, and there are some records where we use Auto-Tune because we think, again, it's a part of the genre. Like if you're making a pop record, you need to tune it with Auto-Tune. If it's like a top 40 pop record, you need to do that. If it's country, mostly Auto-Tune, but there's also like Melodyne is used a little bit more in country than it necessarily is in, and it's funny. And if you really, I mean, I've been making records for 25 years now, but like you can hear it. Like if you've really got tuned in, like I listen to the radio and I'm like Melodyne, Auto-Tune, Waves tune. Like you can tell.
For sure.
Yeah, which is pretty interesting.
Starting to hear it more. Like,
yeah.
I'm sure it's different algorithms and different compression, probably.
Yeah, it is. And of course, and every, you also have the whole fight for the middle where it's like different plugins and different processes. Apple and Microsoft really figured that out in the beginning on computers. It's like you can't have the same code either because of copyright problems. Even if you're solving the same problem, like a hammer is the best way to put a nail in. But if you've got 20 companies and somebody owns the hammer, well, you got to figure out a different way to put a hammer just to not infringe on copyrights. So that's what all these tuning programs sort of have fallen into as well. They all tune, but they all have to get there in a different way to not infringe on each other's copyrights, which is so fascinating. So, but Christy is tuning her own vocal, and she's back there. So when you hear her record, or Christy's got 2 singles.
Oh man.
Christy's got 2 singles up right now. 2 videos. I don't know if you've seen them on ChristyHagerman.com. She's got 2 videos: "Kiss Me Like You Mean It" and "Prisoner."
Yeah.
And both of those, you know, like they sound
Can I-
fantastic.
Can I talk about that? Because I feel like
Yeah.
Kiss Me Like You Mean It, like that was the first song that we made for the record, and like the first song that we made together. And
Yeah.
I think like the great thing was, you know, like I'm always hoping to learn, but especially at that time I was like, I'd never done that before. And I feel like there's so many things that like that tambourine, like the tambourine that you hear in Kiss Me Like You Mean It. I spent literally 2 weeks just like trying to get the perfect tambourine loop, and it took that long because like I didn't know how to play it.
Yeah.
And Damon was like, you're gonna just do it until you get it, and it took me 2 weeks. And like the egg shaker, like it was just it was so hard, like I didn't know, but I learned so much like from each specific piece, like like engineering the drum session, like cutting up those drums, like all the things that you need to learn to like make a song sound like that. But I think that's one of my favorite things about the process is like I've been learning so much, and I feel like I've grown a lot from like making that first song, and then now we've been working on this record for a while, and I feel like I'm becoming more confident to like make creative choices too.
Yeah.
So it's been really a good process. I'm just reading so pumped to hear everything you're working on. Thanks, Wes.
Well, it's thousands of hours of work when it finally gets done.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is the whole other thing about like, so what Christy and I are doing here at Oak, I mean, obviously, like up until now, there's really been 2 choices, right? Like musicians can either make their own record at home digitally, and there's nothing wrong with that. I don't want you to think for a sense just because I run a recording studio. Just because I run a very successful recording studio on Queen Street in Toronto, which you all should come to. Just because you do that, I mean, I never went to recording school. I started recording on 4-tracks, in just local bands in the Peterborough area. And the thing that I was really fortunate of is those first bands that I worked with, a lot of them went off and got record deals. Like when I started, it was, I made Serena Ryder's first 2 records, and I worked with the guys from 3 Days Grace, and I worked with Trevor McNeven of 1,000 Foot Crutch, if you guys know who that is, who's one of the most talented people I've ever seen in my life. And the original guys from Hawk Nelson, which are so amazing. And so I was lucky, but so like you have really 2 quotients now. You've got people who record their records at home, and they're trying to learn how to record on YouTube, and they're learning little bits of advice, and they go to Long and McQuaid and they bother the guys and like, what mic should I buy in that? Or you've got us, which is, we've got Neeves and APIs and all the stuff that, major labels expect. But what we're doing in between that is like, because we make records as a team here, like it's not just like I make a record or Christy makes a record or Gord makes a record. We all work on it together. So Christy is able to go, these are the things that really emotionally matter to me, and we go, okay. So it's like our process is, I think, is the next evolution of where home recording sort of gets jilted. It's like, if you can really learn how the top tier musicians and engineers are making records and bring that into your process and make the emotional choices that you can make, that's what Christy's doing. So she's very much in her album, which I think is an interesting, I mean, imagine if Ariana Grande was like, yeah, I went to recording school and I engineered the drum tracks myself. You would feel like, holy shit, that's amazing. Like, she's not just a singer, because like, and unfortunately for branding sakes, a lot of top tier musicians can't talk about what they're actually able to do because it messes with their brand. Like again, Serena Ryder, like she's a really great drummer. And
I didn't know that.
yeah, she's a really great drummer, and she played drums on something. I think I saw on one of her Instagram posts that she played drums on one of her tracks. But Serena is so extremely talented in so many different ways, and she's such a positive, amazing force. But as a singer-songwriter and a musician, it sort of has to be streamlined a little bit to be able to be, so that people can accept it. So, but Christy is so much more than just a singer-songwriter. And again, I'm going to embarrass her because I'm right in front of her and I'm bragging about
Here
it.
we go.
But yeah, it's like so when you hear her record, it's her choices, it's what she really wants. It's really been important to both of us. We really see eye to eye and making things authentic, and feeling right. There is no, well, this is what pop music does, so let's just, schmarmy it up a bit. It's no, this is the record we wanted to make.
Mm-hmm.
Some people out there want to make pop records. Like, it's not...
I love pop music, like, so much. I feel like I talk about this all the time. People are like, oh, what kind of genres, like, influence you? And, like, obviously there's, like, a million, like, things that have influenced my music. But, like, pop music is so listenable. Like, you just turn it on, you feel excited. And that's really what I wanted to make. Like, I've always wanted to make a pop album. So I'm just excited to, like, be able to do that.
Yeah. Because pop records are the popular records. Like, that's the other thing which is so funny about the music industry is that, you have a lot of people who want to be in the music industry, want to be, seen for their talent. And there's so many talented people out there. But the first thing they do is they go, but I don't want to be pop. And you're like, but if I was selling can openers, I want to be the most popular can opener seller there is. I don't want to go, I want my can opener to be boutique, and I want only like the right people to like buy my can opener, and I want to sort of be, a niche underground that, not everybody knows about my can opener. No. I want to sell a bazillion can openers and crush your can opener because my can opener is better.
Oh my gosh.
I know, that's a weird example.
The real conversations that we have, though, it's true. Like, it's really true. Like, I obviously want it's a balance because it's like, it does have to be authentic, it does have to be you, but it also needs to be like the best version of you. And I think that's really what I'm excited about with this album and with like pop music in general. Is like, it allows me to put forward the best version of my art, that the majority of people are going to be interested in listening to. I don't know.
And it's interesting too, like the more you, like, because it's been an evolution making this record, I've really seen Christy grow as a songwriter too. Like, every song that she brings is better. Like, it's better than the last one. Like, I'm super excited about the third single off Right, which is my favorite thus far, Feel Your Love. And it's so good. It's like it's so good. Like, it's so good. Like, I feel like I'm like, oh damn, this kicks ass. It's a summer song. It's amazing. It's like, it gives me, super tingles. It's like, like when you hear that song that you're like, it's funny. It's almost like there's lots of songs we hear and we like this and we like Kendrick Lamar and like we like whatever and but like every once in a while you don't know why there's a particular song that gets really in you and you're just like, that's the song, I can listen to that hundreds of times in a row. And then you also like, you don't want to like spoil it because you're like, I love the song so much. It gives me that extra elation that you want to listen to a whole bunch, but then you like end up doing this thing with it, kind of like when you first meet somebody. It's like you're dating the song, but you want to like, you're super happy because it's like, the honeymoon period, but you don't want to listen to it too much and get tired of it. That whole funny thing that happens when we really fall in love with the song. That's how I feel about Feel Your Love.
Awesome.
So, yeah, no, I feel it's like my favorite song right now. And it's like, and I've like put it away to be like, oh, I can't listen to that too much. But every time I hear it, I'm like, oh, yes. So that's rare. That's rare when I have that feeling because of how much music I listen to. But and it's especially rare with the music. I mean, I love every record we've made. I'm not saying that, and I truly do. But it's like that extra thing where it like comes into your personal life, where a song you want to bring in. It's not just your job, because obviously we do this full time. Mm-hmm. But like, Feel Your Love is one of those songs that like I want to bring into my personal time, and that's a huge deal. So it's like, yeah, I'm super excited about it.
I'm excited too. It's gonna be
you awesome. Should also be super excited about Christy's new single when it comes out.
Yeah.
It's also, we did now I'm just talking about your record. We also did, which is kind of a fun adage at the end, is we just did acoustic versions of Feel Your Love, and because there's a pop version of Feel Your Love, which I really love, but we also did an acoustic version of it, and she also did a really beautiful piano ballad version of Kiss Me Like You Mean It, which is pretty awesome to hear it stripped down to just piano vocal, because that's really Christy's core.
That's kind of like, it's funny
Yeah,
because
talk
that's
about
how I wrote it. Like my writing process is usually piano vocal. Like I'll sit in front of a piano for hours. That's what I did yesterday.
Yeah.
Just like sitting in front of a piano for hours and just like coming up with ideas and thinking through things. And yeah, like when I first wrote that song, Kiss Me Like You Mean It, I was just like, I was excited by summer. I wanted to make like a very, very like happy, like, I don't know, like happy song, exciting song. And I was just like feeling really good. And yeah, I like wrote it on piano. So it's funny because the piano ballady version that you'll hear on the record of Kiss Me Like You Mean It is really, really close to how I originally wrote it. So it was cool to strip it back and hear it like that again, you know?
Yeah, and again, it's amazing how you'll be able to see how production really changes the meaning of a song. Because I feel from the piano version of Kiss Me Like You Mean It, it's almost more like the one that's out, that again on ChristyHagerman.com you can see Christy's video for Kiss Me Like You Mean It that we already released.
Check it out.
The piano version is more, it's more like pining. It's more like sort of almost like it has a kind of like heart sick feeling about it, like almost like, and I know that's not the intention of the song, but it's interesting that it sort of comes across like, I wish you would kiss me like you mean it, as opposed to this sort of fun, positive, we're in this summer relationship.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how
That's
much
different.
just the change of that, and the background vocals being very subtle, and we haven't even mixed it yet, but it's like already it's got this other interesting depth of power just from changing the production. And that's, you don't hear that a lot, right? I mean, for a while there, people were making sort of acoustic versions of their records. I know Lights does that a lot. She usually makes an acoustic version of everything. Well, actually, Lights made an acoustic version of Drake's Scorpion that she was forced to take down because of copyright infringement. So you guys should go check that out. Or like Taylor Swift's 1989, Ryan Adams did a total acoustic, stripped down sort of alt country version of that record.
Which is so cool. Like,
so
totally
cool.
different.
Yeah. And you guys should go listen to that too. Yeah, look up Ryan Adams 1989. And it is radically different. So we were trying to pull some of that into Christy's record. So right on the record are two different takes of two of the songs, which I think is really powerful.
Yeah, I'm excited for people to hear it. Like, I feel like we were talking about it, and like this has been my whole life, or like, you know, my creative thought process, my like emotional life for so long. So I'm just excited to like, you know, give that to people. I can't wait for that to happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, Patrick said, stoked to hear what's coming. Love what you guys have done. Thanks, Patrick. Appreciate it. I'm excited to see what you do next.
Yeah, so I mean, sort of as a last thing, so Christy's record is coming out this year. We don't know exactly yet. We're trying to get we actually have a meeting later today about the possibility of a venue for the release party here in Toronto. There will be an Ottawa release party as well.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about. And then sort of deciding after that, there's also a series that we're talking about, because, you know, Christy has done, do you guys know that Christy's played 100 Starbucks shows? Do you guys know that?
So many.
She's played 100 Starbucks shows.
I know the drink menu very well at
Yeah.
Starbucks.
Christy has gotten many. This is not a plug, but Christy has gotten many of those.
My
Yeah, her
this?
cups.
Oh.
They keep giving her these insulating mugs. So, you know, like, you know, so she has all these. Oh, this is just an ampersand one.
Yeah, it's Starbucks.
Do you guys know that's called an ampersand? Did you know that?
This is not relevant.
Double honors major,
I didn't
English
know
and
that.
English literature and philosophy. That's an ampersand. Fun fact. You learned something
I feel
today.
like I heard
Yeah.
that once in
Yeah.
school and then just like forgot and never.
But
Dave.
yeah, so Christy's on 100 Starbucks shows. So, and again,
That's a lot.
I know maybe you should talk a little bit about that process, because I know people have asked you, like, how did you do that? And I mean, it's not, yo, I want to play Starbucks. Obviously, it's
Yeah, it was a process. I mean, it was what we did first at the very beginning. I've talked about this in a couple like interviews and stuff, but for you guys following on Instagram, like what we did first was, again, that coffee shop tour idea. We actually did that with mom and pop coffee shops around Toronto. So when Damon suggested putting together a coffee shop tour, I was like, oh, great idea. And then I was like, I'm going to be the person, you know, who takes his advice and does it. So I was like super, you know, eager and ready to go. So I spent hours on the phone cold calling coffee shops. I probably called like 100 coffee shops.
That's kind. She spent weeks on the phone.
I spent a lot of time,
Yeah.
you know, trying to get people to, you know, let me come play music in their coffee shop. And at the end, I mean, it did take a long time, but I put together 24 shows. And then the other thing that I thought would be, well, I don't remember how we came up with this, but that would be really great to involve, you know, local Toronto music, which I'm really passionate about. Is we decided that I would find a different opening act for every show. So I had 24 artists and I had 24 coffee shop shows, and over a couple months, like, we did that first. And then it was a lot easier at that point to approach Starbucks and say, hey, like, we have a blueprint, this is what we've already been doing, you know, coming to them with an idea and you know, saying, like, this is generating conversation, bringing that to Starbucks, and then it just sort of happened from there. So I've done, I think it's like 4 coffee shop tours now, 3 of them with Starbucks. The one I'm on currently is like the longest one. But yeah, it's been over 100 shows. Like, it's
yeah,
been constant.
and also the goal was, when we were sort of talking about, you know, how to, because it's really important, like, when, you know, there was a former guy who ran Music Ontario, Scott Hansberger, who would talk about the detriment that indie musicians fall into is that they do random acts of promotion. It's like they'll make a record and then they go, hey, my record's coming out this week, and then they throw it up online, but then they don't do anything else. Yeah. And then 2 years later they make a video and they're like, hey, I've got a video. Random acts of promotion.
That's
they
funny.
don't. Yeah, Scott is a really intelligent guy.
Mm-hmm.
And what we tried to do is putting it all together and being strategic about it too. So, like, it wasn't just every show has a different opener. It was Christy in that beginning really tried to go, okay, I've got a coffee shop that's, say, in the East End, like, say, you know, in Leslieville or something like that, or in Riverside. Who is the local artist from Riverside who should play it, so they can walk locally, and then also it benefits them to go, this is my local community, this is my local coffee shop, maybe I've been in here before, to, you know, elevate that local prowess. Mm-hmm. So it's not just random openers, it's local openers. And as Christy has done these shows, even with Starbucks, it's like trying to pick people. I mean, he can't do it every time. Yeah. But trying to pick people that are generally close, that's generally their neighborhood. So it's like it really puts a focus. So then after the show, that local opener can go back to that coffee shop, you know, and go like, hey, I was here and I played here on Tuesday, and maybe they met, you know, random example, maybe they met Hal at the bar who really liked it and bought their CD, and now they've got a relationship with that person because it's really showcased that local opener. And I think that kind of giving idea through the show was really important to Christy and I, and that's very the way she did it. Yeah. So, like, there's interesting ways that you can think about when you put on tours and shows like that. Like, you can go beyond just, I'm going to put on a show and there's going to be music, because there's so much music. But it's like, you can do really interesting, special things and really follow through. And if the goal is to lead with genuineness and heart and giving, you can do some pretty cool things that way. And the local opener thing, I think, really does help also, because, you know, it's much easier, as you guys know, if you're musicians, you know, to get somebody to go out to a bar or to go like, hey, we're playing in the West End and you're in the East End. It's like, if it's snowy outside, you know, I don't necessarily want to go. Yeah. But if it's a block away,
no big deal.
Yeah, you're going to get people to go. So it's like, you know, bring the show, you know, be giving, bring the show to them as opposed to force people to, you know, come out on a Saturday night. Make it easier for them. Yeah. And then, you know, Chrissy does the legwork and she brings the PA and the whole thing, and it's also a package deal. And there's just smarter ways to do music than I think. Yeah. It's time to think about music from the guys as an entrepreneur. It's time to, like, don't think about the music industry, because nobody really knows what that means anymore. Yeah. And I'm not even sure when people did know what that means that they were still listening to it, because music is the one thing that everybody's got an opinion about, but nobody's got any real experience in. It's just one of those, you know, like, it's just one of those industries where everybody, it's sort of this echo chamber of cliches that people keep passing around. But I think the new mandate has to be what works, what reaches people, not likes, not follows, but fans, like actual fans, And that's what's so great about like Instagram Live and the amount of people doing that is that you're reaching people.
Yeah.
Who gives a crap what your likes are?
Well,
Like,
that will grow. Like, that will grow because of what you're actually doing. Like, I think the important thing is, like, if you're just focusing on your likes, your follows, then, like, you're not actually doing anything. You're just focusing on, you know, I don't know, like, it's not tangible, but if you're actually doing something, like, the great thing about what I've been doing with Starbucks and, you know, it really does engage with real people, and then those likes and those follows, like, they do grow, but that's like not the point. Like, you can't just be focused on that, you know.
Well, let's you know, I don't know if he's still watching. Wes Fowler, are you still watching?
Wes, are you still there?
We like, because we watch a lot, right, and what other people are doing, and we really talk about it, and you know, trying to, you know, grow, you know, really keep clear on what our mandate is. Wes Fowler, dude, you know what's going on. You get it.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, Christy has got a really high opinion of you. She showed me what your Instagram is on both sides, because you're doing this sort of showcase thing, which is pretty cool.
He's there.
Yeah.
Yay.
You're doing this pretty cool thing like the showcase, but then on the other side, it's like, it's not about the likes. Look at how many comments Wes Fowler has. Everybody can see. It's unbelievable.
It's crazy. It's like 25%. It's like a quarter of everyone who likes your post also comments. Like, that's huge engagement. That's way more important than like how many followers you bought. You know what I mean? Like I think it's great because like your following is real. The engagement's really there.
Yeah, and that's the original mandate of social media, is that, you know, when Facebook and even MySpace and Friendster, if anybody remembers that back in the dark ages, like when those things came out, that was the goal. They were hoping it would create community. And Wes Fowler, hey, thumbs up to you. Like, you seem to get it, because it's like, it's not about the post that's in front of your face. It's about people. It's so simple.
People.
It's about people.
Yeah.
And if anybody wants to know like how to use social media for the right thing, talk to Wes Fowler, because hey man,
send him a DM.
I don't know you, but you totally get it. Like, it's really obvious that you get it. It's about people, and it's not about likes and follows.
And I think that's, you know, I think the people who do, you know, end up doing something and end up going beyond, you know, I want to be a musician, like, I think those are the people who really do care about other people, and like, and I mean, like, it's really important to me also to involve like the music community in Toronto, because there's like so many awesome people, and like I think it serves both ways. Like, obviously it's not like I'm not trying to be selfish about it, obviously, but like I think that it does help you to like help other people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of
like,
course it does.
I don't know if I'm saying that clearly, but like anytime that you can make a situation a win-win for everybody, it's gonna bring you a lot further, and people are gonna remember you, and they'll be like, oh yeah, that person, like, they came, they showed up, they were reliable, and then they were also super nice, and they were also like super caring, and I think that goes a long way. So that's what we see. That's what I've noticed with Wes anyway.
Yeah.
Definitely other people too. That's just like a good example.
I mean, I've got some, you know, knowledge and background in advertising and sort of how they deal with things, and it's really funny that this sort of, you know, it feels kind of like a renaissance that's happening right now in terms of promotion. Like, you know, what it used to be is you would open a shop, people would come into your shop, if they liked you, they'd buy your bread.
Yeah.
And then you hope you've got follow through, which is your bread is good. And then if you were the nice person who was selling the bread, and your bread is good and it's a good price, then the other, I mean, this is Adam Smith 100 years ago, if anybody knows economics. You know, then the other shops would close and people would like Wes Fowler's bread. Wes Fowler's bread, great idea. Anyway, they would like Wes Fowler's bread, or Wes Fowler's, you know, candy canes or whatever. Mm-hmm. So but we've sort of forgotten that in the complication of advertising and, you know, all of that kind of thing, when it really should just be that. It's like, Christy wants to authentically bring joy to people when she plays. Like, you know, that's the thing that's, you know, I can keep going on and on and on about it. Like, Christy is enjoyable to watch as a musician. And it's amazing how many musicians don't even stop to ask themselves and go, it's fun playing music, but does anybody actually enjoy this? Like, am I bringing joy to others? Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, I don't know who's that woman who's, you know, really big on cleaning out your house right now, where she's like, take everything
Marie Kondo.
Yeah.
From Tidying Up.
Yeah, lift up everything and ask yourself if this brings you joy. And if it doesn't bring you joy,
good.
Throw it out, right?
Yeah.
Well, how many people have gone to an indie show and they're going because it's their friend or their boyfriend or their girlfriend, but they don't actually enjoy themselves because the music isn't good? Mm-hmm. It's like, that's the core of why so many people fail in music. And it's like Christy is trying to, promote herself really well. She's bringing it to people, and she's changing her stage setup, and she's changing her songs depending on what people think, not what she thinks. And the way she changes that is the part that's her own voice. The way she changes that is her mandate as a musician, and that's what makes musicians different, but like, because the one thing the world has proven is that we'll always accept a new musician if they're doing it in a new, interesting way. But the thing that Christy's really got going is that she's trying to give enjoyment to fans, and that enjoyment has to be authentic. It's like when you're playing live, that's a shared experience. That isn't a me party. If you're on stage, it's really obvious to musicians that it's about them. And that's the whole authenticity that I think advertising is going through too. It's like, it's not about McDonald's anymore. It's like, are they authentically talking to you? Like, do you feel like you want to go into their shop and buy their bread? That is the simplest way. Do you like them? Do you like what they're doing? And more than that, I think we're really in an age of, do we like how they're doing it? Because if if you're making a great product in a slimy way, well, that's obvious now.
People know, like, I think the consumer is smart enough to feel that.
Yeah.
Like, you can tell when someone's just trying to sell you something versus when someone is trying to, make a real connection with you or, like, really help you.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. And in music, too. It's like, we all know the fabricated products. But, like, I look at Taylor Swift, and, like, she authentically wants to be a superstar, and I believe her. I've got a huge Taylor Swift collection. I'm just going to tell you that right now. I've got every one of her albums on CD.
I'm on board with that.
I support her entire catalog.
That's so funny.
That's right. But, like, I believe her. Like, I believe Taylor Swift. I believe everything she's doing. Yeah. Because she wants to be that person. And when she talks about her cats, I believe that too. And when she's super gawky and awkward, I believe that too. But then when she comes out on a 40-foot fucking snake and she's like, wearing the thing and the sequins, I believe that too.
You believe it all.
And I'm like, oh damn, she's on a goddamn snake.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
I feel really excited about that because I believe her. And I think that's also what Christy and I really tried to do with her record. And I think she really has that.
Thanks.
I also think Wes Feller has that. And I don't even know him. And that's, again, the testament of, like, how that shows.
Yeah.
I gotta meet this Wes Feller guy now.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
Wes, you and I gotta meet because I just spent 20 minutes talking about you.
Yeah, so. Wes, you should send me a DM. We'll set up a meeting. It'll be fun.
Anyway, so we just wanted to come on today and sort of explain what our relationship is and what we're doing and with Oak and with Christy. And is there anything...
If you guys have questions, I'm like just trying to read the comments too.
Yeah,
hey,
sorry, we're sort of lit by a window here, so we can't.
I'm like not able to read it super close.
Go ahead.
I really love your music so much. Thank you. She's so sweet. She's come to a couple of my shows.
Oh, there's Wes Feller.
That's huge. Thank you guys. DM me right now.
There you go. Yeah.
Amazing. I'm looking at a lot of artists in Toronto get this. I don't know what that was about. Sorry, I missed it.
Oh, get like engagement to real people as opposed to. I assume that's what we were talking about.
That must be it, yeah.
I gotta say, because like back in the day, like in this, like at the very infancy of it, like this is all gonna go away. Like organic reach on Instagram and on Facebook is gonna go away. We've already seen that with Facebook. Mm-hmm. Like, it used to be like you put up a post and everybody would see it, and now you're lucky if 1% of your people see it because they want you to buy micro ads.
Yeah.
And it's like that's how companies like Facebook earn their money. I mean, they're also selling your data. We all know that. But, like that's a whole other conversation. But those micro ads where it's like, you're putting up $10 and $20, to promote your new single or your new thing. But that's not what's going to follow through long term in terms of a career on music. Mm-hmm. What's going to follow through is having fans and people who will go through the snow to come out to see your show. And Christy, is building those relationships. And even us as a studio, sometimes we have a 3-month or a 6-month waiting list. We've really tried to build, clientele here. And, when we make mistakes, as all businesses do, we try and improve on them. We try and do it well. And we stay humble to that and stay humble to feedback. And, and also, we keep trying to elevate, like we invest in gear and in talent in a way that brings people an even better product. Because what we're really trying to do as a studio is give people absolutely 100% label quality recordings that are to the public. Because like we're doing it the way that, EMI and Universal do it. Like when they go in and when they hire a producer to make them a record, it's top notch. And it's not plugins, it's the real thing. It's analog gear, and we're doing that too. So it's like, again, trying to be authentic in whatever you do, whatever you're selling, there's a way to do that, you know, and it's the reach of Instagram and everything is going to go away. So all you're going to have is the authentic reach you had with people at the time when you constructed it. Because I got to say, like, I had like, you know, 12,000 MySpace friends. Like, I'll just say it. Like, I owned MySpace. Like, I was like, yo, you know, my 586 computer, dial up, you know, like from the country, like MySpace, I had it down. Just as a funny aside, I spent $4,000 on a computer, or my mom did. My mom spent $4,000 on a computer for my first computer when I was a teenager, and it had 250 megabytes
Jeez.
of total power, and it didn't even have a gig of RAM in it. That was it. It was $4,000, and like, but could get on MySpace, so dig it. So it's like, but it doesn't matter. What's going to matter is it's gone. Yeah. So Facebook is going to be gone. Instagram, it's like people they'll naturally so.
Over time, yeah.
Again, what we're constructing is like real fans, authentic, bring quality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because if you're engaging for real, then that reach is going to remain regardless of whether or not the social platform remains. And I think that's really the thing that we're focusing on.
And I mean, also, let's talk about it just this way. Like, let's get rid of all the like engagement talk. I mean, you're saying the right thing, but like, okay. So a friend of yours, you know, like is dating somebody new. How quickly does it take for you to decide whether or not you like them? Right?
Like, yeah.
And when you don't, you let them know. But like through Instagram and Facebook, or like, you know, when you're a musician, you don't go up to the musician and go like, hey, I didn't really like your songwriting. You just don't come again. Like, that's it. So that's why as a musician, you have to really watch that. And Christy's tour through Starbucks, because she's basically cold calling these people. She's showing up in a Starbucks on a Wednesday or a Sunday or whatever in the middle of the afternoon or early in the evening, and they didn't expect to see music that day. Mm-hmm. She has to figure out right then why they would care to watch her. Mm-hmm. And that's really the currency of music in 2019.
Yeah, and a lot of the times, like, people being interested, it hinges on, do you start a conversation with the people that are in the store already? Like, do you make an effort to connect with them as opposed to just like, I'm gonna go up and play my set and not really look at or talk to anybody? Like, it's really like making that connection. People feel like, oh, this is cool, like oh, there's live music in the Starbucks and she seems really approachable, you know? So like, yeah, I'm gonna stay and check it out for a little while. And a lot of the time, like, that turns into repeat fans and sales too.
Yeah,
It really does make a huge difference.
I mean, again, anybody out there who's studied business, you know, business doesn't talk about product, it talks about what problem are you solving. And the problem and I mean, we say problem because that sounds negative, but it's really not, right? It's like, well, the problem, which isn't really a problem, is people love music and they want to hear new things. Mm-hmm. And people also want to discover things for themselves, and that can be a musician, or it could be, you know, a certain indie designer, or it can be, and we're so much more tactile now too. It's like, you know, sort of the big corporations are sort of, you know, dissipating, and we want to buy local and we want to do that, and we also want to discover music locally. Mm-hmm. And the more authentic that is, it's just going to help you. And there's no way to fake that. You can't fake, like anybody out there who follows Gary Vee, he had a really funny post a couple of weeks ago where somebody was asking him at a conference, they're like, so, you know, when you put up a post, like, you know, how do you coach your team, you know, to talk like you or something like that? And he's like, I do it. And he's like, okay, so when they write the ad for you, or when you write the post for you, you know, so you check it. He's like, no, I do it. It's my thumbs. Yeah. You know, like, I literally, and it took like this person 4 or 5 questions to accept that Gary Vee does it himself. Mm-hmm. That's it. It's just like anything you're doing. It's like in music, it has to be real. Mm-hmm. And that's why, again, we wanted to come on today and sort of explain what we're really doing, so it'd be more real for you as opposed to just this faceless Oak and Christy and...
Yeah, I think it's really good to like sort of quantify what we're doing and give you guys a little bit of some insight into that, because I think I think that this partnership has really been super helpful for both of us, at least for me. And I think that, you know, it's good to talk about how you practically go about like aligning brands and like, you know, like finding opportunities that are outside of what everyone else is doing. And I think it's good to discuss that with people. So yeah.
Anyway, does anybody have any questions or they want to comment or something? Because we've been talking for a long time.
Yeah, I'm like checking.
We have to go to a meeting and.
Yeah, what time is it? We're gonna have to go soon.
It's 1:30.
Hey Ryan.
Oh, we gotta get going.
Oh yeah, we should probably go.
That's okay.
Okay, cool. Well, if you guys have any more questions, feel free to DM me. Yeah.
Christy did give away the salad. She did give away. She did authentically.
I feel like most people probably saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, Christy did.
I did go
follow through
downtown.
on the salad.
It was blizzarding, and I went out and found people who were hungry. So really.
Yeah. Hey, you're welcome, Wes. Yeah, we should definitely. You should come by for a tour.
Thanks, Marianne.
You should come in for a tour and see what we're doing, and I'd love to meet you personally.
Yeah.
And yeah.
We will definitely. I'll definitely follow up with Wes. Yeah. That's awesome. So.
Who's that?
Marianne. Hey.
Have a great day too. I don't know who that is, but this is fun.
I do. Yeah, cool.
Ryan A. Boone. Great last name. Boone.
Yeah, Boone is a good name.
I use that word a lot. Okay. Yeah.
Great.
Well, anyway, it was great talking to you guys. Again, this is Damon from Oak. This is Christy Hagerman. You should definitely go check out her music at ChristyHagerman.com. She's not going to say it, so I am. Her record's coming out this year.
Woo!
You can go check her at a Starbucks show. There's a few more. Again, ChristyHagerman.com. You can see her tour dates. She's playing all the time. We've got new things planned.
All the time.
Her full-length record's coming out.
Big things happening.
Yeah.
This summer.
We're also there's also a limited edition T-shirt we're talking about releasing, which has got
Merch.
Christy on it. Like just a giant photo of Christy on a T-shirt, which we might do for a release party.
But that would be so fun.
I don't know if anybody knows, but like in Walmart when Justin Bieber's record came out, you could buy a box that had the CD in it plus a T-shirt of his face, and we're like, I want a T-shirt with Justin Bieber's face on it. So we're like, maybe people want a T-shirt with Christy Hagerman on it. So anyway, that might be fun. We're sort of playing with that idea too. Just fun, promotional, funny.
Yeah.
It's a ridiculous T-shirt. Anyway.
It's ridiculous, but
we've
it's
been
fun.
sitting like a year and a half. We're like, I designed it, and I'm like.
It's like, I don't know if it's time yet. I don't know if the world is ready for this yet.
It's pretty awesome. So, limited edition T-shirts, records coming out.
Hey, and Rosa, thanks for playing my show. I enjoyed having you guys too.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
So anyway, good talking to you. And DM Christy. Go check out her music, ChristyHagerman.com. Both videos are there. Her tour dates are there. Get a pre-order. Again, you get Christy's Left EP, physical. You get the right record when it comes out this year, digital download, and you get an Oak Recording Studio T-shirt for $30 online. It's all through PayPal. You can use through PayPal. You can use Interact Visa now if you've got that through TD or BMO or whatever.
Yeah.
You can also use a credit card. $30.
Yeah.
Shipped, included anywhere in North America. Go get pre-orders.
Yeah, or if you come to a show, it's $20 per person. So
if anybody wants to take a tour of Oak Recording Studio, I promise I'll be friendly. Feel free to
more friendly.
info@oakrecordingstudio.com. You can email us and we'll show you around. We actually just expanded as a studio. Christy was a big part of that. Christy helped me paint these rooms.
I did paint a lot.
Yeah, we can show you a little bit of it. I'm just gonna lift you. So we're in the new console room. There's a console back there. Yeah, there's rooms and fun
behind me.
Yeah, there's it's pretty cool.
Sweet.
Yeah. So anyway, I just want to show you that. Anyway, have a good day, everybody, and
thanks so much for tuning in.
Stay cozy.
And stay warm.